As promised, the Prince of Darkness himself, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne, and his chart does not disappoint. This is like an astrologer's dream. If astrology is real, this is what I would expect to see. This is what would be on my short list, and I was not disappointed. So the very first thing, he has a Scorpio ascendant. Of course, not only is he a Scorpio rising, now this chart doesn't show it, but he has the South Node in Scorpio. North Node's over here in Taurus. South Node, sometimes they don't show, is in Scorpio in the first house. He also has Venus in the first house in Scorpio. So he has a Scorpio stellium of this right off the hop. What is Scorpio about? Do we need to review? Scorpio is the darkness. Scorpio is the underworld. Everything taboo, occult, dark. They love to get in there. They're not afraid of it. They get in there, understand it, play around in the mud, in the darkness. Because they want to understand. They're like this deeply, intensely, obsessively curious about these darker kind of things that most people might be a little squeamish. That's his whole essence. That's the lens that he's walking through the world looking out through. Has the South Node there, which means this is very comfortable for him. This is literally a Prince of Darkness. Now, I want to point out the fact that he has Venus there. Also really interesting, his wife, Sharon, has Venus in Scorpio as well. And that just really epitomizes their intense love, unending, undying love for each other. Their relationship has certainly not been perfect. They've literally been through so much chaos and crazy shit together, but they have never parted. Now they've come back together. They've always loved each other so intensely. There's actually a really good story where Sharon says she slit her wrist to prove her love. I want to point out, so South Node in the first, North Node in the seventh of Taurus. His purpose of being here was to basically learn how to be in partnership and in relationship. I really think the love of his life, Sharon, was a massive purpose for him. Not only was she his wife, but also his manager, his business partner. She managed him. And so that actually was the thing he was here to do. He also has some crazy stuff going on in his career and finance areas, but the North Node is the purpose. Why are we here? What's our mission actually? And so the way this came together, I think is just really beautiful. And the fact that the ruler of the North Node conjunct his South Node in the first, his wife and his business partner, his manager, Sharon, was very much a part of his identity. Like they were inseparable. Mrs. O. I just think that's really cool and really beautiful. Now, next up, I want to point out Ozzy has a Sagittarius sun. Yes, he does. Of course he does. He's got a Scorpio stellium and a Sagittarius stellium. That would have been on my short list. Scorpio, Sag, maybe Pisces. So the sun in Sagittarius, you know, that's a character. Here for a good time, not a long time. This is the party animal. Because Sagittarius is also like the philosopher, the traveler. But it is also this party fun side. So Sagittarius here to experience everything life has to offer, and they want to do it with their hands. It's also the traveler. Of course, he traveled, he toured, he moved to America, lived in America. He's from the UK, right? And he's famous for being this big party guy, right? Very experimental, if you will. So the drinks, the drugs, Sagittarius is very overindulgent. So very experimental, very here for the party, the life of the party. Very cheeky, lots of shenanigans. Sagittarius likes to get away with a lot of shit, but keep in mind that they're not actually bad people. They actually don't ever want to like break the law. They just like to, you know, get away with like this or that. They're actually very moralistic people, which I think really showed up in like the way that he parented his kids. If you ever watch episodes of the Osbournes where he's talking to like Kelly and Jack about don't do drugs, no, don't drink, especially because they're from the UK living in America. And there's an episode that Kelly is like, but we can drink in like anywhere in Europe. You could have a glass of wine about the age of like 15. And he's like, but no, like you can't do that here. We're in America. The rule is 21. We cannot get you out of those situations. Next, let's just talk about what's going on in this second house of finances. So also the sun in the second house. The sun is also the ruler of the 10th house, which he has Pluto in. Like, okay, astrology speak for a shit ton of money. A very, very powerful career. Pluto in Leo marks this whole age of like rock gods. And he very much lives up to that. The ruler of the 10th in the second house. This is like work, really powerful, a lot of money. Money being a big part of like who he is and where he kind of just shines, where it's kind of easy. And when he talks about his career, it's very interesting because he talks about how when he got kicked out of Black Sabbath and he thought he was going to be done and have to like go back to like work in a factory. And what happened was the company that was managing them ditched Black Sabbath for Ozzy and wanted to take him on. The universe was just handing him on a silver platter. What else does he have in the second house? His second house is pretty set. He has Mercury in Sagittarius, which for the record is also giving like the way he thinks and the way he communicates, this wild kind of way of communicating. The way he talks is hilarious. The stories that come out of his mouth are really funny. He's a storyteller. He's quite a character. Also though, Mercury rules Virgo, his 11th house, and the MC, which is his career point. So we have the 10th house, which is career, and then the MC, which is more definitively one's big reputation, what they're known for, the work they're known for. The 11th house is your public persona. Having the MC there indicate that his career is very much in the public eye. The ruler of all of that, his public image, what he's known for, the work he's known for in the 2nd house. All of that bringing in a lot of money. Also being very important to him, something that he values. So Ozzy's very known for his work ethic. That guy would go out and get absolutely blasted, or he would still be completely blasted and still pull on a full perfect performance. And in fact, he performed literally up until almost the day he died. He gave a show a few days before he died. So he has a Capricorn stellium, specifically with Mars conjunct Jupiter. Mars, the fire, the drive, the passion, Jupiter, the expansion, the optimism, abundance, together. This is a beautiful combination, and it's happening in Capricorn, which is a very work ethic, practical, grounded, longevity type of energy. So this is like gasoline on the fire. He took his work very seriously. He also has Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, conjunct the MC. What he's known for, point, his career, what he's known and famous for, Saturn conjunct in Virgo. This is actually a very grounded energy. His work meant a lot to him. He was very dedicated to his work, very dedicated to his craft. Showed up, not complain, do it no matter how fucked up he was. Not just a shitty performance, a perfect performance. A lot of people would comment how he could barely talk if you talk to him, yet somehow he could sing and put on a perfect performance. A couple more things I just want to point out is Mars is the ruler of Aries, his 6th house. It's also the ruler of Scorpio, his 1st house. So Mars, well placed in Capricorn, conjunct Jupiter, planet of abundance and optimism, positivity, is really blessing these 2 areas of his Scorpio rising, his persona, how he's known, his physical body, as well. Aries, the 6th house is also work, our work energy, our work routines, our daily routines, and our physical health. Mars ruling these 2 things and in very good position explains a lot about how he's being able to do like all these drugs and all this crazy shit and still actually get to be 76 years old, which is incredible. Because when you hear the stories of what he did, especially in his younger years, but honestly well into his older years, he very much dabbled and battled with substance abuse well into his later years. The fact that he never had anything really seriously wrong all those years, that he never had a near-death experience as far as I'm aware of, really speaks to this well-positioned Mars ruling his body. He has Neptune in the 12th house. This can be a common marker of substance abuse and addiction. Like this is very much giving that Pisces energy when you have Neptune in the 12th house, and that is very much associated with kind of like this wounded artist who is escaping life, the hardships of life, through art and often substance, because things are just too heavy and too hard. However, the rest of his chart really supports him. While he does have this tendency to escape, he's also still able to hold together and be grounded here on Earth. And I think that that is what has tipped the scale, the balance more in his favor, didn't tip him over the edge, kind of into his own demise. What do you guys think? Are you surprised by this chart? I'm not. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And stay tuned for the next chart. We're doing P. Diddy.